Welcome to City Online. Thanks for sticking around. The father of an autistic boy is on a hunger strike at Queen's Park to protest what he believes is the government's inaction. Supporters say the McGuinty Liberals have not implemented responsible policies for kids with autism, including their right to a meaningful education. Give us a call, 416-870-7716 or 1-800-295-5463, and share your thoughts on whether the government should be doing more. At the heart of the matter are issues of funding and long waiting lists for specialized therapy called IBI, or Intensive Behavioral Intervention. You can also have your say by taking part in our daily phone poll. We're asking you today, is the McGuinty government doing enough to help families with autism? If you say yes, please call us at 416-870-2242. No, call 416-870-4444, and we'll get the final results for you at the end of the show. And joining us with more on today's topic is Bruce McIntosh. He's the founder of the Ontario Autism Coalition. And on the phone, we have Ontario's Child and Youth Services Minister, Deborah Matthews. Hi, Minister. Can you hear me?
I sure can, Laura. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for joining us, Deborah. Just let's start off with you. What is the government's response to this? What is inaction? The waiting list now for this IBI is over 1,000 kids long. How do you respond to that?
Well, Laura, what I will argue is, yes, there is a lot more work to do, but I think it's very important that we understand how far we've come. 10 years ago, there was no child in this province receiving IBI therapy funded by the government. Today, it's over 1,400 kids. Just in the last 2 years alone, we've gone from 800 kids receiving IBI to over 1,400. 10 years ago, the budget for autism services was $0.5 million. Today, it's in excess of $150 million.
And so what about funding the rest of these kids? Are you saying that the government just can't afford it right now?
Well, what I'm saying is that there is definitely more work to do. What we talked about in the last election campaign was the importance of making schools a welcoming place for kids with autism, a place where kids with autism can be comfortable, where they can learn, where they can get what they need. So we've trained thousands of people who work in schools on ABA, and we are going to be offering IBI in schools in the province. And we're looking at some models. We've got several pilots going around across the province now. So we want for kids with autism exactly what their parents want. We want these kids to be able to achieve their full potential.
All right. Well, Minister, let me stop you there. Bruce, what's your response?
Well, I'd be curious to hear from the Minister exactly when she thinks that this is going to happen, and exactly what is she going to do differently to improve the situation in a meaningful way. You know, she speaks about the wait lists. I'd like to just show you what's been happening to those wait lists.
Just show it to the camera there.
Over 5 years, that wait list has done nothing but go up.
So it was here, now it's up here.
That's right. It's gone from 79 children when these people came to power to now 1,058.
Now, why is that? Is it because there are more kids being diagnosed?
There are more kids being diagnosed, and they're not taking them into the program rapidly enough. And I'm giving the government a real benefit of the doubt here, because there are another 400 kids who are awaiting an eligibility assessment. So that's just whether to find out they're eligible to be on this list to wait longer. Now, this has been what's been going on for the 5 years that the McGuinty Liberals have been in power. If you keep doing the same thing, why would you expect a different result? They're going to have to get more aggressive on this.
But, you know, there is only so much money. And
well, you can pay now or you can pay later.
And how do you...
well, the estimated lifetime costs for a person who does not get IBI therapy runs into, well into 7, if not 8 digits. Okay. You can pay for these children to the tune of, you know, a couple of $300,000 now, or you can pay a much larger price down the road.
Okay, let's get to the phones. I want to get a call in before the break. Maureen is on the line. Hi, Maureen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Maureen, what is your opinion on this whole issue? It's been going on for so long. These parents are quite frustrated.
Well, it's true. It's very true. And I happen to actually be a parent of a child on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And I also am an employee with the local school board. And so I'm in the school board and I see, I hear about the ABA, I get the information. I don't really see it happening, certainly not as rapidly as it should. And I see teachers, and I may get in trouble for this, but I do see teachers and other staff, trying to get these students to conform to their ways. And it really is about time that we started conforming to these children's ways, get into their world instead of forcing them to be in our world.
Into our world. And isn't this therapy, isn't it one-on-one? Isn't that the basic of it?
It's one-on-one, and it's very intense. You're looking at anything from 20 to 40 hours
So having another 25
a week.
kids running around, that's not conducive to...
If I can interrupt for just a second, what I'd like to say is that, first of all, on the issue of why the wait lists have gone up so much, a part of that reason, an important part of that reason, is that we did eliminate the age 6 cutoff that the previous government had imposed, because we don't think that just because a child celebrates a birthday that they no longer will benefit from IBI.
Right.
So that absolutely is an important component on this wait list story. To Maureen, here's what, I think she's identified exactly what our challenge is. But there are some really good examples of schools where kids with autism are thriving. I went to visit a school in Guelph called Courtright School. I went with the Minister of Education, Kathleen Wynne, where we saw IBI beautifully integrated into the schools. It can happen. We know it can happen. And our big challenge is to get more schools with that kind of capacity.
All right. I'm going to stop you there, Minister. We have to take a short break. We'll be back with more calls right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to City Online. We're talking about autism and the role that government plays in funding training for these kids, therapy for these kids. And Bruce McIntosh is here from the Ontario Autism Coalition. And Bruce, you have an autistic son.
Yes, my son Cliff is 8 years old.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed just shortly before his 3rd birthday. We spent 2.5 years on the wait list for therapy. We just about drove ourselves into bankruptcy trying to pay for it ourselves. Yeah. And when we finally got on, he's made wonderful gains.
So what can he do now because of the IBI?
He's learned to function in a whole variety of different settings where his communication problems and his behavioral problems wouldn't let him cope. He's gotten, his language has filled in. This was a boy who at his 3rd birthday couldn't answer a yes or no question reliably, and he's learned penmanship skills. He's learned the skills that we were not sure if he would be able to acquire. And I have to say he's functioning at a typical 8-year-old's level than I think I would ever have imagined.
Oh, that's
5 or 6 years
wonderful.
ago.
Congratulations. We have Laura on the line next. Hi, Laura. Laura, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Laura, what are your thoughts on this issue?
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for bringing this topic up. I have a younger brother who's currently 45 years old. And being the eldest child of immigrant parents, back then I was put in charge of finding schooling for him and different programs. And I have to say, here we are, 40-plus years later, and we're still in the same position. And just from the perspective of a gentleman who said you either pay now or pay later, my brother has certainly paid a high price just trying to deal in society, trying to work.
Who looks after him now, Laura? Who looks after him?
Right now he is he's living with my brother. He's trying to work, but he, of course, can't read and can't write and all of those things. And it just really appalls me that, there's so many years that go by, and this is an issue that's been around forever. My brother was put into a school with considerably handicapped, mentally handicapped children. That was the only thing that was around.
Yeah.
And when that didn't work because the teachers basically said we cannot take the education away from the other students to